Hey, what's going on, True Blazer fans? It's Tori, and welcome back to another Monday Mailbag. This is episode 27. I'm also releasing a weekly recap sometime around this. I gotta record that too, so make sure you check that out. Or let's jump straight into your guys' questions from the past week. Lil Timmy says, should we go after Bojan Bogdanovic in the offseason? His shooting efficiency is off the charts this season, and is a huge reason why the Pacers haven't fallen off in the standings after Oladipo went down with an injury. Will Pacers mad overpay to retain him? We'd have to open up at least our full mid-level exception, which means we'd have to probably trade Harkless or Myers Leonard, probably have to attach a little bit of something to get rid of their contracts. Basically, if we use our full mid-level exception, we can sign a guy for up to around $9 million a year. But then we get hard capped at $137–138 million of salary for the year, so we can't go past that. Right now, without bringing back anybody who's a free agent, we're projected to have a payroll of $125 million going into next year, so it's going to be very hard without making a trade to open up that full mid-level exception. But even if we do, I don't think we have enough money to get Bogdanovic. I think he will get at least $10 million a year. That's what he got offered before the season, and this has been his best season. So I definitely see that number going up. I think he'll get offered something around $11 to $13 million a year, and I think the Pacers will probably bring him back because he's a good fit. They have good defenders all around him, and he's not a good defender, but he spaces the floor really well for Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo. I don't think he's going to end up leaving Indiana. That would be a good shooter to bring off the bench, especially replacing Seth Curry, and he would be a guy that plays small forward, but shoots a lot like Seth Curry. Could do a little bit more off the dribble, just an all-around better player. He would be a good addition to our bench, but I don't see us being able to make that happen. Old Jacob Hauge, or is it Jakob like Jakob Pertl? I don't know, but this guy says, love your content here in Norway. Here's a question for you. Is it positive or a negative that Lillard and CJ are taking a bit fewer shots than usual? To me, it seems like Dame might need more shots to be more effective, if you get what I mean, to be more effective on a longer basis. I don't think this is a bad thing at all. I think it's saving Dame's energy for the postseason. I don't think he'll be worn out when the playoffs roll around like he has been in previous seasons. It'll be easier for him to handle hounding, trapping defense. And now we have the personnel on the wing to do a little bit better job against trapping defenses. He can hit an outlet pass to Rodney Hood, who can drive the lane. He's still got CJ spotting up. Nurkic is a lot more comfortable attacking the rim from the free throw line to the three-point area, so him as an outlet pass to beat the trap would be very good. I think we have a little bit better personnel. Hopefully our scheme is a little bit better, but this is more of a team effort, and that's never a bad thing. When playoffs come around, it's a lot harder to scout for a team that distributes its scoring evenly. You have so many different guys to account for that you can't really just load up on one or two like teams have done in previous years. Now, I would like to see Dame take over games and have a 40-point scoring night just from an entertainment standpoint, because I love when he does that. But as far as the team goes, I don't think that's a negative at all. I think it's a positive that Dame is kind of resting. He's just focusing on setting guys up, and he's not having to do too much in order for us to win games, that he has other players stepping up and scoring the ball to help him out. CB says, question for next week, who are your top 5 NBA players of all time? I know this is a huge question, but almost no one has the same top 5 except for Jordan. Where do you put LeBron, Larry Bird, Wilt, Kobe? I'd really like to know. And I wouldn't put Kobe in my top 5. I think Kobe was slightly overrated by people who consider him top 5. My top 5 would probably be Jordan, then LeBron, then Wilt Chamberlain, then Larry Bird, then Magic Johnson, maybe Magic Johnson, then Larry Bird, I don't know, but those would definitely be my top 5 NBA players of all time. Destrum says, do you think that Dame would be considered carrying the Blazers if we do win the conference championship somehow? Because personally, I think that instead of only bringing Dame up, I think the whole team should be brought up. Trenton Simons would have great showings. Now, I don't understand what you mean by Trenton Simons would have great showings in the conference championship. Those guys won't play at all. But in terms of Dame being considered carrying the Blazers if we do win the conference championship, the only way we do win the conference championship is if we have a lot of other guys step up, so it wouldn't be Dame carrying the team to the NBA Finals. I don't think Dame is good enough to carry a team through a conference championship. Those guys are very far and few between. Other than LeBron and maybe Kevin Durant, I don't think there's a guy like that that could carry a team to an NBA Finals. Tino Paz Hernandez says, if we trade Evan Turner this offseason, should we go for LaMarcus Aldridge? His contract is up this season. It might be Popovich's last season, as rumor has it. And I talked about LaMarcus Aldridge earlier this season. I don't even remember what I said, but honestly, yes, he'd help a little bit at power forward, but he's getting older. I'd rather see us bring somebody in a little bit younger and that's a little bit more cohesive of a fit as a guy that can defend multiple positions as well as hit threes at a very high rate, as well as take guys off the dribble from the perimeter. That's my ideal power forward. Maybe a guy like Tobias Harris, who's a little bit better defender. LaMarcus Aldridge bailed on us, and with how that went down, with him quitting on the team right before he left, with him and Dame and other people being at odds because of LaMarcus's personality, and he said it's a miscommunication, but I think it was a little bit due to just how Aldridge is as a person. And then it's funny, he goes to the San Antonio Spurs and they have problems with him as well, an organization that never really has problems with players. I don't really want that back in our locker room. I'd rather go out and get somebody different than LaMarcus Aldridge, but obviously he'd make us a better team, so I wouldn't be fully against the idea. I just know a lot of fans are feeling a little bit nostalgic about him, and I've definitely moved on. One SJD says, hey Tori, what coaching options do you think are better for the future? A McHale type of guy, or who do you think is a better fit for us? Greetings from Colombia. I wanted Mike Budenholzer last season, and that dude is probably going to win Coach of the Year this year. That guy is a top 3 NBA coach right now. He might be second to Popovich. He might be considered the best coach once Popovich retires, but we held on to Terry Stotts. Mike Budenholzer went to Milwaukee. Now they're the best team in the NBA. As far as other guys, I've said Ettore Messina a lot. That's a guy I definitely look at. Just somebody that's from the Spurs coaching tree. They have a lot of good coaches. Mike Budenholzer came from the Spurs organization, so Ettore Messina, maybe Jay Wright from Villanova, now that that program is kind of going downhill. That dude is a very good coach, and if you want to look to the college ranks, I definitely like Jay Wright. Maybe bring Ime Udoka, who's also from the Spurs organization, bring him back to Portland as a head coach. I would like to see that. That dude knows how to coach defense, and he knows how to hold guys accountable. Other than that, there's really no guys that stand out to me as coaching replacements, and I'm definitely not really focused on anything Stotts is doing right now because he's been doing actually a pretty decent job lately. He still has made mistakes, and I will talk about them in my weekly recap. It's just a couple, it's not much, but he's been doing a decent job lately. Young Brooks says, what do you think on Zach Collins' floor and ceiling? And same with Nurkic. I don't think Zach Collins' ceiling is higher than Nurkic's right now. I think Zach Collins' ceiling is about the player that Jusuf Nurkic is now. Obviously, Jusuf Nurkic's ceiling is better than he is now. He still has room for improvement, and Nurkic has the ceiling of an all-star. I definitely think he can develop into a guy that gets 18 points per game and 12 rebounds and 4 assists and 2 blocks a game. That's an all-star level big man. Maybe he could score a little bit more, but you know, that's minutes based. If he was able to play 35 minutes a game, he'd be getting 20 points per game right now. But in terms of pure impact, Nurkic probably already has an all-star level impact on our team right now. I think he could be even better than that. As far as floor goes, we've seen Nurkic's floor. It was probably the player he was last year before the All-Star break, where he really struggled finishing inside and his defense wasn't as good as it is now, and a lot of Blazer fans were frustrated with him. That's the floor, but I don't see Nurkic going back to that because he's made some strides and some improvements that I think will last him over the next 7 or 8 years in his career until he starts to decline. As far as Collins' floor, it's really hard to say. His floor is probably where he's at now. I don't see him playing any worse. I think he'll continue to develop. I don't think he's having a bad season so far this year, but I would like to see him do a little bit better offensively, do a little bit better shooting the ball, do a little bit better in the low post and facing up, but he'll add strength and he'll get more comfortable with his outside shot and he'll improve from that. So right now, I think Zach Collins is at his floor. So that's all the questions that I can get to from this past week. Thank you guys for asking them. Make sure to leave your question down in the comment section below, and I will try and answer it next week in Monday Mailbag 28. So with that, that's all I got for now. I'll see you true Blazer fans later. Peace out. Go Blazers.